Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, doing well. Doing very, very well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What's new?
Well, I'm coming to you live from my office. It's no more podcasting at the end of the dining room table. So
Oh, nice.
it's pretty great.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
That's a laundry room. So if somebody should come out that door ever while we're recording, then call 911. Yeah.
Deal.
Anybody comes out of there, they're not supposed to be in there. Just saying. So, no, man, it's been good. It's been good. I've been eating a lot of food. How about you?
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been. Yeah, it's been good. I just went on a trip and we had lots of food, and we'll get into that here in a bit, though.
Yeah. Anything that you would call the most amazing?
I mean, it all was, in all fairness. So, yeah.
Steven,
I'll walk you through that little by little.
How long were you gone, Chef, and where'd you go?
I was gone for about 5 days. Let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. And I went to go visit my brother in Pensacola, Florida. And my mom went out there, and my cousin went out there, and we just had a good old time. And
Nice.
I mean, we ate, we drank, we were merry, and all that good stuff that goes along with it,
Yeah, eat, drink, and be merry. You can't ask for more than that.
Right?
Well, so you've been home for about a week. Did you cook anything special this week?
Not this week. Long story short, we actually had a gas leak at the house, and so we're waiting for that to be fixed.
Oh,
so
no.
In the meantime, it's all baked meals, which I'm sure. I mean, we can still make good food and all that, but it's a lot more convenient on a gas stove.
Yeah, I mean, so I just did the opposite. Like when I moved, I had a gas stove at my house, and now I've got electric. So kind of getting used to that. It's like glass top electric.
Oh yeah.
So it cooks really fast. It burns things really quickly. I just don't feel like I have as much control over it as I did with the gas. But yeah. I hear you. Yeah. I hear you though, like because I had moved out of a house that didn't have a vent hood, and so it was kind of even though right, like there was no hood there to suck up everything that you were cooking on the stove. It was also the oven would heat the house quickly.
Yeah.
So it was always, I was very much like a crock pot, and then, finally made my way into the bliss that is the air fryer. So,
oh, yeah. We've been talking about it for years now.
Oh, man. Well, your kitchen's lonely. So then I have to know, if you're not usually using the oven, like, what did you do? What made it different?
I mean, like here at the house?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't even had time to make food or nothing like that. I've just been go, and it's just been prepackaged meals,
Oh, okay. So, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. I had a pretty decent one this week. It was a crust-free chicken pot pie. So it was kind of like chicken and dumplings without the dumplings. So kind of like a thick chicken soup. For the money, though, I thought it was really impressive. It was a frozen meal. So I wasn't mad at it.
Oh, there you go. That's a good way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. The most amazing thing I had this week was a flatbread. We'll kind of get right on into it. But I've been trying out places in my new town, and I went to this little place called Mackey's Irish Pub. I'm not sure that anything about it was Irish, but a coworker had said like, "Hey, these are the best burgers around," and I was like, "Oh, I'm not really in the mood for a burger," so I just went and looked at the menu. They had a flatbread that they called the kitchen sink. And Steve, when I tell you that this flatbread was like the size of an 8.5 by 11 piece of printer paper, and it was cut into 4 pieces, and each piece was like the length of my face.
Yes,
right? So
I'm digging this.
So it gets to me, and I'm like, oh my God, can I have a box? I had one piece while I was there. I had breakfast a piece and a half cold yesterday and a piece cold today. It was insane. But when they said kitchen sink, they weren't kidding. So black olives, red peppers, caramelized onions, green peppers, pepperoni, and sausage that I am very, very sure came out of a link casing, like very different, not like a ground up, not like pizza topping. I think they made it really, really good. So they do a margarita they do a the one they call the kitchen sink, which is like their supreme, right? Then they do one called pigs and figs. So bacon, pork tenderloin, caramelized onion, fig jam. I'm gonna have that the next time I go. It's gonna be
it sounds like you need to, yeah.
How could you not? How could you not?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get it started. Like, tell me what was first on your.
Okay, let me pull up my list that I made in the last 3 minutes.
Do it.
So as soon as I flew into Pensacola, my brother picked me up. My mom was with us. We had it was just a small group of people, and so we went to go Pensacola Bay Brewery, and so downtown Pensacola, it's very nice. It's clean, and like there's just a lot of old buildings, that are made into businesses and whatnot. It's just, I don't know, just the way that everything's set up. It's so cool, Yeah. And so Pensacola Bay Brewery is across from like an old church, and so I guess it prevents you from drinking too much. I don't know, but their beer was amazing. I ended up having their Fiesta IPA.
Okay. And
it was really good. Now, I'm not a big IPA person, but I thought it was very delicious.
Nice.
And, everything about that place was just cool. Like, you sit outside, it's humid, and not only that, but then it starts raining, and then it stops raining like 2 minutes later, and then it goes on and off.
That's Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I forgot all about that. But I mean, it was just a good old time, and we hung out there for a round, and my brother said, well, we have dinner reservations, whatnot. So on the way to the dinner reservations, we stopped at a cigar bar and had cigars, and, as much as I wanted to continue drinking and whatnot, I was, I'll wait till we get to the restaurant, because
sometimes you got to pace yourself a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, it's just nice sitting in a leather chair, smoking a cigar, and watching, football, pre-football stuff and whatnot with everyone. And we just had a good old time. So then we went to Angelina's, and they open at like 4 or something like that, 4 or 5.
Nice.
And it's only dinner, but it was really good. So we had some cocktails, and I had their Italian margarita, because of course, that's what I love. And not only that, then you get their house red to go with everything. But we just got like scallops, and we got like mussels, and we had everyone got like pasta. I had their wild boar pasta, which was out of this world. My mouth is just watering thinking about it right now. But like so I started eating it, and I'm like, okay, where's the boar at? And so I realized it's just ground up boar, and the pieces are cut so small that you get a little bit with every single bit of pasta that you.
So was it like a ragu?
Yeah, it was just like a ragu. Thank you. And I mean, the flavors, the tomatoes were not overpowering. They were very subtle. You got a good amount of garlic. And I think one of the reasons why I chose that was because the server said, man, that's one of my favorites. It's got a good hit of garlic. And that's what I was sold on. And it was just amazing. Their scallops, I mean, they're just base scallops. They were just out of this world. They were so good. And so it's just a little bit of butter. You get all that good buttery brininess all together from it. Oh, it was amazing.
Did you guys order, like 4 or 5 things, and then everybody shared a little bit of everything, or?
No, we ended up just kind of getting our own things. As much as we were going to share, we just kind of, had one of those moments of, no, this is what I want. And I was going to get their pizza because, of course, I always love pizza. But then I thought, you know what? Let's try something different. And I thought that was amazing.
How are the mussels, Steve?
Oh man,
how are they prepared?
They were just, they were steamed. You had a little bit of your shallots, your garlic, your white wine, tomatoes, things like that.
Yeah, like a real classic preparation.
It was simple, and their focaccia bread. Holy crap! Everything was just so good. Like
one of everything my favorite, was. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like that. You just wanted to make a meal out of just the focaccia bread, like that they give you standard,
Yeah.
So
I worked at this place called the Belmont about 1 billion years ago, and we had mussels that were very, very close to the same, like shallot, garlic, the cherry tomatoes, like a broth in the pan, lemon juice, white wine, right? And we used to make what we called focaccia, but it wasn't really. It was like a Parker House roll preparation. So like, like in a Parker House roll style, but it was actually potato dough, right? So we would put it in a sheet pan with a sheet pan extender. So it would come out to like this, Steve, right? But you would let it ferment twice and then do like your fingers and then olive oil and a crap load of rosemary all over the top, right? With big flaky salt. So they would cut it in these huge like rectangle sheets, and then you would just like kiss it on the grill, right? Yeah. And so the potato bread's it's a little bit softer than like regular focaccia because it doesn't have that like sponge, that focaccia sponge. It doesn't absorb as much of the oil, right? So it came out a little bit drier, but it was really, really good for like sopping that mussel juice up. So when I would go out to eat there on my day off, I would get mussels and just get like 2 orders of bread, and that would be the entire. We like getting every little bit, out of the bottom of the bowl, So.
Yeah. I like all that stuff, and
I love it too.
As much as I ate, I was kind of too full for dessert, but like everyone got like a chocolate dessert or something like that. So I normally I'm about dessert, but at the time I was like, I'm good. My wine is my dessert, So
I mean,
nice.
It do be like that sometimes. I mean, you can really push it past the point of being pleasantly full into being miserable really fast.
Oh yeah,
most
definitely.
I mean, I love like a little something sweet to finish a meal, but like, dang, sometimes that ship has sailed. Like it does it. Well, hey, for those of you who don't know out there, ragu is a dish that's made by stewing down vegetables with really, really small pieces of meat, like Steve said. The kind of the difference is like when you see it on a French menu, ragout, ragu, it will be like more vegetables and aromatics. And if you see it used in Italian food, sometimes more tomatoey, right?
Yeah.
So, but I love boar prepared in that way.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing like that, and because it's tough to begin with, so you have to braise it.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny because I was asked like, would you do anything different? I said honestly, instead of doing boar, or I would either braise that boar down, or I would just do like lamb shanks because that's what I love. Like lamb shank ragu is one of my favorites. But that's just me. Yeah. But either way, I mean that place was delicious. I would recommend it if you ever go to Pensacola.
Okay, what was the name of it?
It was called Angelina's.
Got it. And do you have a favorite way to prepare mussels? Because I do, but it's different than the way you described.
I mean, I kind of do like that too, where I just kind of sweat out all my shallots, my garlic and all that, throw tomatoes, let them pop and blister, some aromatics, some white wine, a little broth, Yeah. I keep it simple. How do you do yours?
So my favorite way to do them is actually like a red coconut curry.
Oh, really?
So, like kaffir, lime leaves, like in the broth, shallots and garlic, but lemongrass is like what really sends it over the top. And then the thing with coconut milk is like you have to thin it out, or it's just gross. Like it shouldn't be like melted ice cream consistency. You know what I mean? Like you have to cut it with something else, but a lot of that red or even green, either one, red curry paste or green curry paste. And then I like to puree just a little pickled jalapeno, so you get like the heat and the acid, and then everything in the pot, lid on, and then they open, and a lot of like fresh cilantro, even mint can be sometimes good in that dish, or Thai basil. So it really doesn't have a home. It's like super pan Asian, it's got like a lot of different elements, but that's my favorite way to do mussels.
Nice. Yeah. Well, let's see. So the following day, so this was Saturday. I think since we had dinner kind of early, we were still kind of full, so it held us over. The following day on Sunday, I got to think about that. No, this I got in Friday. I was there Saturday, so yeah. So then Saturday, what we did was we went to the seafood restaurant but a fish market called Joe Patty's, and it's just a really cool fish market. They got all sorts of stuff, and it's almost like a Buc-ee's in the sense of like they have like sauces and all sorts of like breads and cookies, all sorts of stuff.
Gas
But of course,
station theme park.
yeah. But I mean, they're known for their seafood. So
nice.
We got a couple pounds of like amberjack. We got a couple pounds of monkfish, and then we got like a few pounds of some red shrimp. It was almost like the Argentine shrimp, where it's just real meaty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh!
And it's so sweet. Like that shrimp tastes so different.
Oh yeah, and they held up to the heat too without turning into mush. That was my favorite part.
Nice.
So we went and picked up a bunch of stuff for dinner, and then some charcuterie type of stuff to hold us over. And after that, we ended up at the Union Public House for a couple appetizers, kind of like a very, very light lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in, and I had a Paloma, and we ordered like Scotch egg and what else we get? We got a pimento cheese dip and things like that. Everything was really good, right?
Nice.
And what caught my eye, and I should have gotten it because I regret it now. They had a duck fat old fashioned.
Stop.
Yeah, I really wanted it, but I was like, I want something light. I want something really light and really, just bright. And of course, old fashions are not bright. You know what I'm saying?
So, well, for those of you who don't know, a Paloma is grapefruit juice, a little salt on the rim, tequila, maybe some simple syrup or triple sec, depending on where you get it. Mm-hmm. And then the duck fat old fashioned would be bitters, a sugar cube, and do you rye or bourbon?
I like both.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter.
I prefer rye, but you could any of the browns, right? No, maybe not Scotch in this instance.
No,
like bourbon whiskey or rye. Muddle that sugar cube, sometimes an orange slice. Mm-hmm. But the duck fat, they would have washed that bourbon with the duck fat.
Yeah.
Through a filtering process, which, golly, that sounds so amazing.
I should have done it. I'm kicking myself now, but that just means I got to go visit my brother again,
Dude, I mean, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a great time. But I mean, we had a good old time. We had some, kept it light for lunch and whatnot. And then for dinner, what we did, or we went to Publix. And so, Publix and H-E-B, two totally different things. I still got to do my time with that,
Had you been to one?
I've been to Publix before, and they're all right. Like
I had my first pub sub this week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
They're I mean, for what they are, they're good. It's not as great as H-E-B, but that, again, I'm biased. And so I picked up some groceries for that. My brother has like a farm, where he's got like a pear tree and grapes, and he's got peach trees. He's got all sorts of stuff. So I was challenged to make something like with the pears off of his tree. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, we'll do like a pear crumble, if you will, or a salted caramel, like pear tart crumble, whatever you want to call it. So for dinner, what we did was we smoked the amberjack, the mahi, and the shrimp. Now, I got a few pounds of butter, and I just kind of melted all that with the shrimp and threw a bunch of herbs and whatnot and a bunch of salt and just let that kind of like poach. You know what I'm saying? And
you butter
with so I ended up getting a bunch of almonds to go with our pear tart, and I had like a bunch of pecans left over. So what I did was I rolled the amberjack in those pecan pieces,
nice,
and of course just seasoned it because I was like, well, I can't have all these leftover pecans. And then the monkfish. Shoot, I don't even remember what we did. I think it was just a simple seasoning with that one because I was like,
were they
three different things.
Like fillets, or was it chunked up?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah, no, it was just like the monkfish fillet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything was just fillets, and I as much as I wanted to keep it simple, of course we don't. And so I pickled, some shallot, and we had, coleslaw to go with everything, and it ended up being really good, like fish tacos, if you will.
Nice.
And so, so my brother has like this building where it's got its own little smokehouse like room, and then in that building he's got like a couple of those green eggs. He's got a deep fryer. He's got a crawfish boiler. He's got all sorts of stuff.
Does he run a restaurant, Steve?
You would think he does. So it's a tiny little building, but he has all that stuff in there.
That's
like an outdoor
amazing.
kitchen. And he told me
Start charging money.
I've never used this smoke room before. And of course, I'm thinking like you can cure bacon, you can cook all sorts of stuff. And
You're like, well, we need to christen it, and I'm about to change
right.
that.
So we threw in a bunch of wood and got it to like 250, 275, and we just let all that fish smoke together. Everything was just smoking together. It was great. And of course, you just smell so wonderful as the door opens, and then you get it all stuck in your hair and whatnot. Even if you take a shower, you still got that scent in you. Oh, it was great. And yeah. And so, yeah, we had like fish tacos, shrimp tacos for dinner that night, and then that salted caramel apple tart or pear tart. I'm sorry. It was so good, and it had so much butter in it. And my God, I was happy. I really thought I was going to get sick from all that butter, but no. Mm-mm.
So you did salted caramel, apple, and pear?
Salted caramel, pear, no apples. I apologize.
Sorry,
I keep it, but it's so easy to say like apple tart. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like,
Right.
I have to remind myself pear tart.
Steve, the spirit of fall is upon me. I made a pot of chili. It got cold. It got down to like 50 here last Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, I leaned full on into it. I was like, let's go. I made a pot of chili. I put some brisket from our friends at Jimmy L's in that chili. I don't regret that decision at all. I didn't have any apples in the house, but I was, scrolling the internets like you do, kind of doom scroll in the old social media, and I saw these cookies that I'm next Friday's grocery day, so I'm going to make them. You basically make apple pie filling, but with like tiny dice, right? Like tiny dice, and you basically stir it into oatmeal cookies. Yeah, I was like, nice. Yes, let's go. I was like, oh my God, I want apple oatmeal cookies because apple's better than pumpkin.
I kind of am inclined to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I made some pumpkin spice cookies too, but you can't taste the pumpkin. That's why I like them so
much. I do like pumpkin stuff, so yeah, that's just me.
I know you do. I might be coming around to it in some applications.
Yeah, in small doses, it's great, but when it's a lot, it's still great.
It's like you and pickles, except that I don't pickles all the way. All right. So you guys had this huge meal and all that butter and dessert.
And we also made like let's see, what else do we have? We had all sorts of stuff, man. I mean, well, I can't say all sorts of stuff, but it ended up being leftovers for a couple days, and It was lovely. There was no complaints. And every morning we would make farm fresh eggs and just like scrambled eggs with cheese and like biscuits and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there was absolutely
make the biscuits from scratch.
No, I cheated, So you make like little biscuit sandwiches and whatnot, and they just came out really good. Like, and it's just simple. And even one day, like we tried to make like a bruschetta, sorry. And we put that with like our fish and whatnot. Like, so it's just like finding things that you have and making little small improvisation with it, everything,
Yeah.
Well, and it was just great.
You kind of have to make do with what you've got sometimes, man, especially if you're on vacation.
Oh, yeah. So. And it's funny because everyone kept telling me, like, you don't have to cook, but it was just fun, Why the hell not?
Do you ever or do you ever find yourself in a situation? I don't know. Maybe we're about to reveal what a terrible person I am. That's also fine. But do you ever find yourself in a situation where people are like, "You don't have to cook," and you're like, "I'm doing it so nobody else will."
It doesn't bother me at all.
Well, I know, but it's like it's not because nobody else will. But sometimes you find yourself in a group where you're like, "I need to cook, or it's going to be bad."
Yeah, I've been in that situation a couple times, but I mean.
Then you're like, it's for the common good.
But the problem, though, is like when other people cook for you, they're like, "I'm so sorry, it's so bad. I'm so sorry, it's bad, I'm sorry." You're like, "It's fine, it's great. I can eat. I'm full."
9 times out of 10, it's not though. It's not terrible, is what I mean. Like we've talked about that before. It's like when somebody goes through the trouble of making you a meal and you didn't have to make it yourself. It's like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so let's see, what else did we do? We went to this place called the Orr House, and of course my eyes lit up when I heard that. I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And my brother said, "No, Orr House."
Or.
Yeah,
Or.
yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, and I was like, "Oh, well, there you go." And so I can remember being hurting just a little bit that day from all of the fun festivities of, you know, adult beverages,
Sure.
and what we did was we ordered a couple of appetizers. So we got like their fried fish fingers, which are basically fish sticks, but like handmade. They were out of this world. Yeah. And we had some hush puppies, and then we had like some sort of a sriracha shrimp dip, and everything was just good.
Sound good.
Sriracha shrimp dip.
Was it cold or hot?
It was hot.
Huh.
It was
but the shrimp wasn't tough. Like that's my hesitation. Okay.
No, it was good.
Did it have cheese in it?
Yes. Yeah, it did. It was very creamy. It was good. I like stuff like that. I like creamy shrimp appetizers, things like that, dips, like even with crab, things like that. It just makes me happy. And then you put like a good warm tortilla chip on there. Get out of here. It's good.
Did I ever tell you my story about crab and lobster and why I don't eat it?
Not really. Tell me. Tell us all. Tell the listeners.
I'll eat it. I like those things, but I am always the person that if somebody's gonna get a piece of shell, it's me. It never fails. It never fails, and I'm just like, why bother? So I just stopped.
Yeah.
I stopped worrying.
Well, if I ever visit you, we'll have lobster, and we'll make sure that there's no shell.
Thank you very much. But I also have a great affinity for. I like lobster in unconventional uses, like the fair, for instance.
Such as?
Like the lobster corn dog at the fair.
Okay.
Really, really, really amazing. No shell in that. No shell in that bad boy. But I like crab and lobster a lot. I'm just one of those people. If I find something in the food and it's not supposed to be there, it kind of ruins it. I can't get past it. I can't get over it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's the same way with like finding eggshells in your eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you're like, damn. Or for me, it's when you buy like rotisserie chicken that's already shredded and you bite into a bone.
Oh,
done. The whole thing goes in. It just. Yeah, I spit it out, and the entire thing goes into the trash. No questions asked.
But the only thing that I'm a little bit more forgiving with is, unless it's like a heinous amount, is gristle. Like every once in a while in sausage, I know that there's going to be like a teeny piece of gristle. I had a burger the other day, and it had like one piece, and I was like, okay, maybe not. And then the rest of the meal was fine. I hesitated for a moment, but it didn't ruin it. But there are some things that I'm just like, you can't come back from. And the bone in the shredded chicken is one. I can't do it.
I hate to be wasteful. But if I bite it with one of my front teeth,
it's how it feels.
Ugh. Nope. I just spit it out. Yeah. I will waste food in that instance. Or in that example. But otherwise, I try not to waste food. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's hard to get past it,
Around the same time that Friday, when you got into Pensacola Friday, right?
Yes.
So around that same time, I was driving all around the Raleigh, Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill, blah, 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 like all the Tri-Cities area, as apparently the locals call it. And I ended up at a place in the transfer company food hall on the south side of downtown Raleigh called Benchwarmers Bagels. And I think Steve knows what's coming because I texted him about this sandwich. But I had an incredible sandwich. It was really, really good. This sandwich had duck rillette, sour cherry cream cheese, pickled onions, and whole grain mustard. And for those of you who don't know what rillette is like a really old, so rillette is RILLETTE.
Yeah.
And so it's a really, really old method of preserving meat. So they'll cook the meat down usually in its own fat. So if we're talking about duck, it's going to be, most likely it's going to be the legs and thighs. They cook it down in its own fat, or a confit. It's French for with fat, right? Well, in fat. And they're going to shred it up, and they're going to let it cool and put it back into that fat and cover it. So it's like when you seal a mason jar by canning it. It's the same idea. The fat keeps the air out. So it keeps it, and it almost stays good.
It preserves it.
Yeah. It's so rich. It's so good. This sandwich was insane. I was there for a bagel. The bagel wasn't great, but
everything else sounds
was
amazing.
So this sandwich came on sourdough, and I would say it changed my life. And you already know how I am with like sweet and savory and fruit with meat. So the cherries and duck is like a classic combination.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
These weren't like your, Montmorency. These weren't those kind of sweet pie cherries. This was like a tart sour cherry, and it worked really well because the duck was rich and it was fatty. And,
yeah, you need something tart to cut all that fat.
So good.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's crazy because you would think for being on vacation, like, you would have a lot to eat every single meal, but my brother lives like maybe 30, 40 minutes away from like Pensacola. So you don't want to drive, eat, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so you have to make each outing, make the most out of it.
We had so much fun just hanging out and doing nothing and just enjoying each other's company. By the way, I also learned that I'm awful at making like pot of coffee with like ground coffee. I'm so used to making it with whole bean. And so my brother has a coffee grinder, but when I would make coffee for everyone, I would just fill that filter up with coffee grinds.
Oh,
and it was just like, I mean, that coffee was just jet black. Yeah. I like black coffee, and even I was like, I need some cream in this.
Like, tablespoon per person, tablespoon and a half per person.
Yeah.
That's a lot, Steve.
Yeah, I know. But like with our coffee grinder here at home, you just fill up the little grinder with beans, and it's like perfect for like a whole pot,
Oh, what you're saying is your grinder holds the perfect amount for your coffee pot.
Yeah. So
that doesn't translate.
No, it doesn't. So where else did you go when you were in the Tri-City?
I went to this really charming little place in Perry, North Carolina called La Farm Bakery. And I got a blueberry raspberry scone, which was really, really amazing. I got a ham and cheese croissant, probably the best ham and cheese croissant I've ever had. And I got a thing called a morning bun. Do you know what a morning bun is?
No, but it sounds good.
Well, I just want to preface this. I mean, it wouldn't matter if I ate all of these things, but for everybody that's like, oh my God, did you eat all? No, I had to buy the beach and I took them home, and then I made them last 2 or 3 days because, Anyway, I could have, but I didn't. So, a morning bun. So think of a croissant that you turn into a muffin.
Okay.
But by way of like rolling up the dough like a cinnamon roll. So it has a center.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Right? So it's like a big cruffin, like a croissant muffin, but it's concentric circles. Does that make sense? Right? Steve's like,
that's a lot. Like, I feel like smoke is going to come out of my ears thinking about it,
So it's a laminate dough, but it's like rolled up like a cinnamon roll is, and it's tall like a muffin, right?
Okay,
but
gotcha.
It has pastry cream in the middle and a little like rosette on top. Dude, it was so good.
Sounds like it.
Was so good. And the only reason that whole thing didn't get eaten right then and there is because driving wouldn't have been safe. That's all. And there would have been a pastry cream like all over the steering wheel. Like I was like, no, I really want to eat this. So I just rushed home so that I could eat it like over the kitchen sink. It was like all flaky and stuff. It was really incredible. So shout out to La Farm. And I wanted to buy like 8 loaves of bread while I was there, but I decided not to. But all their bread was really good.
By the way, I took my brother a ton of snacks from HEB, and it's all gone. It's all gone. We had like chips and trail mixes, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's all gone.
I mean, as it should be. Why not?
I know. So now the next question that came out of my brother's mouth was, when are you going to send me more stuff? You know. So, but in all fairness, Publix does make some good scones. When you mentioned scones, it reminded me of that because we bought some pumpkin spice scones and blueberry scones. Yeah, of course, with coffee. It's just magic.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind like a pumpkin things. I don't like pumpkin pie like every so often. It's the fake pumpkin flavor. Like, you're not gonna catch me drinking the pumpkin spice latte.
Right.
But, like a pumpkin muffin, yeah, that's fantastic. The pumpkin spice is just one spice removed from apple pie spice. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that far. I think it's the texture of the gourd that I have more of a problem with.
Yeah.
Now, I make dog treats for my dogs with pumpkin puree. I mix pumpkin puree and wet food together. It's a good way to like a little fiber, help a little treat for them. This recipe that I made, you'll like this, Steve. It's a box spice cake mix and a can of pumpkin puree. That's it. I mean,
I'm about that life.
I put a serving of vegetables and fiber into cookies. Like, what's not to love about that? And it tastes like fall. So I didn't invent the recipe. It's actually a really old recipe. I think they're called magic cookies or something like that. But you get 24 to a recipe. It costs, $5 to make. And it tastes like fall. So I ain't mad at it. Scoop those bad boys out and bake them for like 15 to 20 minutes. 350. Super easy.
Yeah, it's like, you didn't make the recipe, but you did play a doctor on TV. I get it. It sounds amazing. You need to share that recipe. I think you just did, right?
I did. Y'all weren't listening to mine.
Right.
Yeah, I played a chef on TV on this podcast.
Right. We just might be good. We just might.
Just maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mean, overall, it was just everything was a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend going, or I would go back. I can't wait to go back and try out more food and more fun. And, it was just a good old time, So if I ever go back, which I don't know why I keep saying if, but when I go back, I'll have to actually take even more pictures because I'm not going to lie. When I'm in public and I'm taking pictures of food with my phone, I get a little self-conscious. Yeah, totally. And it's funny that we say that because my mom and my cousin were taking pictures of every single thing, and I'm like, I'm okay. But I need to just get over that so it'll help me jot my memory a little bit better.
Hey, tomorrow is a promise and today is fleeting. If you have to take pictures of everything, just consider it like you're filling up your memory bank.
Right.
I have a question for you. You were just in kind of a seafood spot, right? So this pub has an impressive menu of what seems to be all homemade stuff.
Okay.
And so really great. I heard the burgers are really amazing. They've got loaded tots. They have homemade onion rings. They've got everything else. What do you think the odds are that their grouper sandwich is good? I've never lived this close to the coast, so I'm just like,
I would try it. Yeah. I feel like it would be good. So my problem with fish sandwiches is that when they use an actual bun, I'm always afraid of smashing down the fish and it just kind of falling out and you get more bread than fish. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I'm afraid of, but I would be willing to try it.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, and you can judge me, and that's fine. I think we've already established that I like Cracker Barrel, right? This is related, and I promise it's not like a
Cracker Barrel's not bad. I just like to make fun of it.
Yeah, I know. It's like Creed. Nobody will admit that they like them, or Nickelback, which is fun to hate.
Right. Exactly.
Well, it's catchy. And so anyway, look, we just lost like half our listeners. Bye, listeners. Cracker Barrel has like a fried catfish. I haven't actually been in a while. I don't know if it's still on the menu or not. I think it is. There's not a reason why it wouldn't be. They used to have fried catfish or blackened catfish sandwich, like as a lunch special. And the thing that they got right, well, the fish always tasted fresh. I kind of think catfish tastes like dirt, and you really got to treat it. You need to like soak it in milk, and it needs a little lemon juice, and like you got to do some stuff to make it not taste muddy. However, I mean, blackening can cover a whole multitude of sins. Like you could blacken some really crappy things and kind of make them taste really good. The thing they got right on this sandwich, though, the bread was thin. Exactly what you're saying. Like the fish got to sing, right? Like the bread was thin enough to where it was just like really good little sweet pickles and some tartar sauce. Now I have super low standards when it comes to some fried seafoods because and I will crush a filet of fish, especially during Lent. I'm not even Catholic. That's just when they go on sale. Like, you could get them all year round. They just they start advertising really hard for that time period. But I also have an affinity for like really terrible fish sticks, like subpar quality.
I don't mind them either.
They're sentimental,
really
man. I can't help it. Sometimes I just like what I like. But I got to try this grouper sandwich. I was intrigued. Having just come from Dallas, I'm like, just if you're like super inland, then sometimes maybe not. Depending on what kind of fish. It's like, just rolling the dice. I had some good sushi, Steve.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, I went to a little place here in our little baby downtown. It's called. For those of you who don't know, I don't live in Raleigh proper. I live in a suburb. But I went to this little bitty place called Azuka Sushi. And I had a roll that's called the White Tiger. So it's spicy tuna, yellowtail, and jalapeno on the inside.
Oh,
it was like an inside out, so like rice on the outside instead of inside, right? And then it had escolar, tilapia, and crispy fried onions on top with sriracha and eel sauce. I was like, tilapia, okay.
I was gonna say you kind of lost me with the tilapia. But...
I know. I usually don't. I don't have anything against tilapia. It's kind of like the tofu of fish. This is boring. You know what I mean?
I think it's like catfish. It's gross.
Yeah. It was I will say this about tilapia, right? The myths about there is a widespread myth about it being raised in like blue water. Mm-hmm. Like, you ever try to keep a betta fish alive, Steve? Or a fish, like a goldfish at your house, or like, right? They're so finicky. The water has to be 1,000% clean all the time. So the people who raised tilapia couldn't make any money if that was actually true, because the fish wouldn't live, right? Right. So the tanks have to be like super duper clean, and it's also like pound for pound one of the highest protein dense sources of seafood, believe it or not. So it has a couple of things going for it, but it's the tofu of the sea. Like, it has zero flavor on its own. It's boring.
You're not wrong there.
It's boring, but the eel sauce and the sriracha on top set it off. It was really good. So, yeah, I might have been won over. I'm not gonna like go out and start buying tilapia to cook, but I was like, okay,
sushi grade tilapia raw,
right? Like, I'll tolerate it in this roll. It so threw me off so I was ordering pickup to go get it, and it so threw me off seeing it on the menu that I probably spent 30 minutes trying to decide what to order, because I was like, do I? Don't I? Do I? Is today the day? I don't know. I like had a crisis over it. I was like, I don't know what to do. So, yeah.
Well, I will have to try it one day. Unless it came with pickles, then I'd be like, nah.
Yeah, pickles and sushi, that sounds terrible. And I love pickles.
Who knows? Right? I don't know.
I had one more thing that I wanted to add. I went to a different food hall in Durham, in downtown Durham, the Bull City. The Durham food hall had a little place called Corner Yaki. So it was like yakisoba. I had 2 bao buns, but they were split open, and they had chicken karaage in the middle. It was fire. It was fire, but it was jalapeno tempura.
Ooh,
so
that sounds good.
It was incredible. Spicy mayo. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Really, really good. So,
like spicy to where you need to chug water, or spicy where you get a little kick and you're good.
Spicy to where my mouth was on fire, but it was short-lived. Okay. Like, as soon as I finished eating, it was like, okay. Kind of like wings.
Okay. Like, gotcha.
Once the sauce and then you're good.
The sauce with the sauce and the other sauce and the bones. Yeah, I just love it all.
And the things and all the things.
Right?
Man, isn't eating the best?
Eating is fun. I like it a lot. I don't always remember what I eat, but eating is fun.
I've been on a popcorn kick lately.
I don't mind popcorn. I like popcorn.
Yeah, I like it. How could you mind popcorn only if you're a monster?
Right. A few weeks ago, my wife and I went to this show called Summer Mummers in Midland. And what you do is people are just throwing tons of popcorn. I think I talked about it in a previous episode. But everyone's throwing popcorn, and I'm buying bags of popcorn, and I'm just eating popcorn the entire time. Oh, my goodness. It was just lovely. And then, of course, after you fill up on popcorn, which takes a lot of popcorn to fill up on, then you start throwing and having more fun.
It's not very calorie dense, so I don't meticulously count calories, but try to pay attention to what I've eaten in a day and just make sure that I, hey, is this a suitable amount?
I feel bad for. Go ahead.
Well, let's not go that far. I don't put that much work into it, but I do notice what calories things have, right?
Yeah.
And so I was looking at popcorn the other day, and I was like, I wonder if could I make a meal out of this? I was texting my aunt back and forth, and she was like, "You and this popcorn for dinner? Like, you can't. It's not a meal." I was like, "Yeah, it is. It's a whole grain.
You can make it a meal. You can make it a meal." I think it's definitely possible.
I buy this incredible jalapeno salt from I can't remember where I get it from. I want to say Penzi Spices, but that's not it. It's a smaller retailer online. Jalapeno salt will take your popcorn to the next level. So,
nice.
Yeah, buddy. So,
go ahead. I like sweet popcorn. I like buttery popcorn. I like salty popcorn. I like it all.
Yeah.
Cheese popcorn.
I never met a popcorn. Yeah, well, I never met one that I didn't like, and I have a low standards when it comes to that too. Right now, I have Smart Pop bags for the microwave, even though I have like a popper. I have the glass, like it looks like a coffee pot. You put it in the microwave, and you put real butter in the top, and you put the kernels inside, and you microwave it in there, and it like fills up the glass. I just don't have like loose popcorn kernels at the moment, so I'm like, yeah, the bag stuff's fine.
Right.
It's also just butter and palm oil and salt. Like, what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Just because it's plastic?
What's wrong with it? Nothing.
Nothing.
I just feel bad for the people who have to make all that popcorn at Summer Mummers, and I feel bad for the people who have to clean up afterwards. I mean, like the floors like got about that much popcorn.
They probably have those like huge circus push brooms. Right. Where it's just like all into like a giant dustpan.
I would hope that they at least give it to like that popcorn to the animals or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they don't waste it.
What animals?
Who knows?
Can animals eat popcorn?
Cows?
Well, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it doesn't have like stuff on it they can't have.
I don't know. Who knows? But
is feeding a cow butter popcorn weird?
I don't know. Maybe you can give it pigs. I wonder how pig meat would taste, like a hog would taste if you fed it buttered popcorn.
I was just going to say, is feeding a cow buttered popcorn like feeding human breast milk? Is that like weird? Just think about it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Seeing as how I don't have kids, I don't know. Viewers, what do you think?
Yeah. What's everybody think?
Those of you who are listening in the car, with your friend,
that's left
wondering and having them wonder, what are you listening to? These are some of the weird conversations that we have on the Food for ThoughtCast.
These are the questions that we ponder. Okay, well, let's think about this though. What do they feed? Don't they feed veal milk?
Yes.
This is milk fed, right? It's a veal.
Yeah, it's like cabrito or like baby goat. Once it eats grass, it's no longer cabrito. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's milk-fed diet.
But both ways, right? Like milk-fed or grass-fed or grain-fed affects the flavor profile.
Yes, correct.
So somebody out there who has animals needs to help us. If you fed a pig buttered popcorn, would it change the flavor profile?
Well, it's the same way like some people they swear up and down when they give their pigs like beer and stuff like that. It enhances the flavor of the pig.
Huh.
So.
Well,
who knows?
That's a food for thought.
Right? Things that make you say, Yeah.
We're weird.
I don't know.
Hey, if you're still listening, thanks.
Right. Any other trips planned in the near future?
I don't have any trips. I'm busy being a local right now. My next big trip is to Disney.
Oh, that's true.
At the beginning of next year. So
okay.
I'm going to continue being a local because there's about 1 billion places that I haven't tasted. So
nice.
There's a new place. Go ahead.
Where? There's a new place where?
Well, there's a new place opening here that I'm interested to try. It's a chain out of. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm not even going to try. It's a chain out of somewhere in Florida, one of those cities. Anyway, it's called Jeff's Bagel Run, and they have a lot of really interesting flavor bagels. They have like a Cheez-It bagel and a chocolate sprinkle bagel, and they make them in dual colors. Like they just made Florida State bagels for, I guess Florida State had a game last week or something. And then this week for the release of Beetlejuice, they made like a black and white, like half and half.
Yeah.
Bagel. So it looks.
By the way, I saw it yesterday. No, I'm sorry, not yesterday. I saw it. No, not yesterday. I saw it a few days ago. And
was it awesome?
It was very lovely. It's just not the same though.
I mean, a sequel never is.
Yeah.
I think that, well, I don't know if it's, I guess it would be a sequel, not a reboot. I think the first one scared me some as a kid. I wasn't just quite the right age. Mm-hmm. And so I need to watch it again as an adult before I see it. I saw Twisters last weekend.
Oh yeah? How was that?
This is the most unrealistic movie I've ever seen because there's this one scene where Maura Tierney is playing the mom and they live in Oklahoma somewhere and she serves barbecue. And I'm like, nobody in Oklahoma knows how to make barbecue. It's worth crap.
To all our listeners in Oklahoma. She said it, not me.
It was a really great movie. I want to see it again, actually.
It was good, but it's a sequel from 30 years after the original.
I thought it recaptured the magic, but I was actually. It's funny that you mentioned that. I mentioned that because I was like thinking about that barbecue scene today and still like laughing about it. What about you? Are you traveling anywhere?
In a few weeks, I'll be going to Philadelphia for a game to go see my Eagles beat the Browns. Hopefully,
so exciting.
But yeah, we'll go eat some more there, and this time I'll actually take pictures of my food and not care if people think I'm a D-bag for it.
Are you going back to Reading Terminal?
Yes, that's a definite must. I love going there. I'll eat there every single time and not think twice. It's so good. All the stuff they have there is amazing.
I expect a full food recap.
Okay, this one I will take pictures in depth and take note of every single thing that I did. Unlike this trip where I kind of had to remember it the last second. So surprisingly, I kind of remembered everything.
There is a food truck rodeo and roundup in downtown Raleigh tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And
where are you going to go?
There is one downtown in my little suburb next Friday. Yes, I'm going to try to hit both. So.
Okay, so then food recap of that.
Recap will be exciting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Food recap, and that'll be the next episode.
Hey.
There you go. See, now we're coming up with more content randomly.
Randomly. We're not even done recording this one, and we're already coming up with other stuff while we're recording.
Which is ironic because usually we're like, what are we going to talk about? We figure it out like 2 minutes before we start recording.
Shout out to Ozzy Nate. He and I were messaging last night, and he was like, I really enjoy how you find guests with, such interesting things to talk about. He was talking about our most recent Jim Linson and the conversation about the wind power and the fairs and things like that. And I was like, I was like super duper interesting. And it made me laugh because I was thinking like, man, sometimes we don't know what we're going to talk about 5 minutes before we record.
It's true. I hope Ozzy Nate appreciates the fact that I like Vegemite now.
He does.
Yeah.
He has to.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, but
I put some in my chili too. So.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to try that.
It just adds this little umami, like yeasty, salty umami in the back. It was just a tablespoon for a gallon of chili. Yeah, a tablespoon.
Oh yeah.
For me, it replaces like passata or tomato paste or So super good.
Nice.
And I put a dash of cinnamon in my chili this time. And don't tell anybody, but I almost thought about trying it with the cinnamon roll, but I didn't do it. Somebody have to take my Texas card away.
Well, I no longer live in Texas, but
I didn't put beans in it.
Oh, okay. Welcome back. You're good. Well, it seems like now we're talking about food. It's making me hungry, and it's time for dinner now.
It is time for you to eat.
Yeah.
I did eat already.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's time for us to go.
Mm-hmm. Steve, it's been a blast. As per the
always
usual.
Fun.
Talk to you next time. See you later.
Bye.